Welcome to the ED Post Sports Talk Show. I'm sports editor Drew Rubenstein, and Kristin Kurelic, our high school football beat reporter, is here with us today. And Kristin, we're going to talk about the University High football team in this episode. It seems to me from the stories that you wrote in the Dominion Post during the 3-week summer session that the Hawks never really got over the way their season ended last fall. They were a team that was hosting an opening playoff game, and they got knocked out in one of the first round upsets by Lewis County. And have you gotten a feel by spending time with the UHS players and John Kelly that they really haven't gotten over that loss and are kind of using it as motivation going into the new year?
Definitely. That they did lose in the first round of the playoffs on their home field against a Lewis County team that they had beaten very easily in their home opener, in their season opener back in August. Granted, during that game, Lewis County kind of shot themselves in the foot. They came in here and had about 5 turnovers and just kind of fell apart on their end. But again, it was a team that going into that playoff game, I think no one expected them to be upsetting University. Unfortunately, it was the other way around, or unfortunately for University, and University was the one that made some mistakes and definitely has regretted that since then.
It seems to me that UHS, the experience, I guess, is the question. Does the experience of going through that, they return a lot of key guys from last year, and is that going to do something for the Tony Richardsons and the Jack Armstrongs and the Travis Renners that were there? Do you think they're going to be able to utilize that experience and it's going to help them this year?
I think so. I think being around their workouts during the 3-week period, no one has forgotten about that. Most of those players, as you said, were not just on that team, but were a big part of that team. They do have almost all of their main contributors from last year back. So those guys, they remember that, and as they're going through drills in that 3-week period, just watching from the sidelines, there were several times when I heard players and coaches talking about Lewis County, talking about, hey, on August 30th, we've got Lewis County and we have to do this or we can't do that. And that's something I think that's going to motivate them and get them pumped up going into that first game.
I think so, and I think I've seen that experience can play to teams' advantages. I think of the WVU basketball team from 2010, they ended up making a run to the Final Four the year before they got knocked out in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and then just being in that kind of a pressure situation, I think will ultimately help them. And speaking of guys that have been in pressure situations and excelled, the Hawks do have a couple guys that have received college scholarship offers and are getting looks from some high-level Division I colleges. Let's start with Tony Richardson, son of a former WVU football player, and it seems like the sky's the limit, and maybe his potential hasn't really been tapped. Do you think that's fair? What type of player is this, and do you think he still has a lot to prove here?
Definitely. I think Tony showed a lot of talent last year. He was probably the second leading receiver for University after Deion Cunningham, who graduated this past spring, and he will be playing at Glenville State likely this fall. But Tony showed a lot of potential. He's a tall, athletic kid, 6'3", 215 pounds. He plays a lot of wide receiver, some tight end, also some defensive end, just very athletic and can kind of fill in a lot of different roles.
It seems to me that Tony, he brings a different element too that I know in one of your stories during the 3-week session in the Dominion Post, John Kelly was saying this is probably one of the most academic teams that he's had, and Tony's probably a big reason for that, right? What type of course load, what types of, what is he able to do in the classroom? Do you think that translates to the football field?
Definitely, Tony and several of the University players are definitely a very academic team. Tony's got I believe a 3.9 GPA, and he has offers right now from Harvard and from VMI. He's getting interest from Princeton, other Ivy League schools, also from Ohio University, schools of that level, and like we were just discussing, some from WVU as well. But that does translate onto the football field because he can be in those practice periods. John Kelly doesn't really have to teach a whole lot or teach things a lot of times. He picks it up very quickly, and he can help his teammates to learn things as well, and they are kind of ahead of process as far as putting in plays and just knowing knowing what to do on the field.
It's going to be interesting to see as he's trying to navigate his college decision. Does he want to play big-time division football, or you're talking about Harvard and Ivy League schools like that? Is he going to want to focus more on the academics? Not that he can't get a good education at other schools, but obviously he's getting a wide range of opportunities. And another guy who's in similar situation is Jack Armstrong. He's a guy who played a little bit of everything, and is that going to continue this fall? And what does he bring to the table for the Hawks?
That will likely continue, and Jack is another really the same sort of player as Tony, just a guy that can do a whole lot of things, gives you a whole lot of options. Last year he played wide receiver, he played safety, he played a couple games at quarterback when the Hawks' starting quarterback Travis Renner was injured, and really did an excellent job filling in during those games. He was on the punt team, the kick return team, and he's another one who's got a 4.0. He's getting offers from Princeton. He's very interested in Davidson in North Carolina and schools like that.
Okay, so Jack brings that to the table, and I know one player that may or may not play for UHS, and we'll just have to wait and see what he's able to bring to the table is John Moore. And it just seems like unfortunate circumstances where he's gotten injured the last couple of years. What exactly has happened, and where is he at this point?
John Moore has definitely a little bit of an unfortunate situation. He will be a senior this year. Coming into his junior year last year was someone that John Kelly was looking at to be a major contributor, and he tore his ACL during the summer practices and missed the entire season. He began the 3-week practices this summer, and I think university was very excited about the idea of having him back. Another very athletic kid, very versatile kid, and they were eager to see what he could do for them. Now, on one of the last days of the 3-week period, when university went to the 7-on-7 camp at Morgantown High, he did tweak that knee again and came out of that tournament about halfway through the day and didn't return, and was going to have to go to the doctor, and his status is kind of uncertain at this point as to how serious that is, how much he will be able to recover from that ACL injury last year. And I know the university coaches and players are certainly hoping that he will be healthy for this season, because that will be a key piece to this.
Absolutely. There's a lot of interesting guys and storylines to follow as the season progresses, not just for the University I team, but the individuals, to see what all scholarship offers they end up getting, where they end up deciding to go to college. And I have a feeling that season opener against Lewis County will really help to define UHS season, and whether or not they get off on the right foot or not could end up determining what they do this season. Thanks a lot for your time, Kristin, and thank you for joining us on the D Post Sports Talk Show. Continue to check thedpost.com for all the latest sports video, and the Dominion Post for all the latest in local sports.